Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. So since I've already actually reviewed the book and did multiple parts of that review, we're not going to kind of relitigate any of that stuff today. We're just going to kind of talk about some of the points that really stuck out to me and stuff that I really enjoyed about the book. So yeah, before we get into Wind and Truth, where I'm probably going to do another like major multiple videos about it. That's all I know. Just multiple videos about that book. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and talk about Rhythm of War though today. We're gonna do stream of consciousness, full and complete spoilers, open. But I'm mostly just going to focus on some of the different parts of the book that I really enjoy. So let's just talk about it. So yeah, with that being said, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and if you're interested in supporting the channel in another way, you can check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. So with that being said, let's begin. All right, so Rhythm of War. So I have multiple videos on the channel. They're like you have to dig from. They're way back of my initial actual reviews of Rhythm of War. So initially, I had a lot of issues with the story because I very much felt the hand of the author. I very much felt Brandon's hand in the story because it felt like he was deliberately constructing it in such a way that he would be able to exposit the way he needed to. So I had like issues with it on my initial read, but like knowing a lot of that stuff going in on this read, I was able to enjoy it a lot more and just focus on different parts of it that were just a lot of fun. So yeah, I want to talk about some of those different points in no particular order. Not like a top five or anything like that, but let's just kind of talk about some general points of the story. So, thinking about in the beginning of the story, pretty much that scene that kind of solidified my hatred for Moash, where like you're trying to get somebody with this horrendous level of depression to actually off themselves and that kind of thing. Like, I absolutely hated that so much. But there's a point before that that is just so hilarious. It's so funny. Like I love when stuff like this happens in movies and TV shows and stuff because it's just so fun. So Kaladin goes into the burned down house to go try to help Rashan and stuff, and then this is when they test out that Fabrial that's a suppressor, and he loses his powers and stuff, and they immediately start talking crap like, "Oh, you little farm boy or whatever, you're not a warrior, you don't know about fighting, you're just got your cert." And before he can even finish talking smack, Kaladin beats the crap out of them and kills them. Like I thought that was so much fun. I thought it was so hilarious and so much fun. Cause like even on my initial read, even when I was in the preview chapters and stuff, and I was going over that part, I'm like, okay, so you suppressed his powers. It doesn't matter. Kaladin's one of the best spearmen like ever. So like he's still gonna kill you guys. Like it doesn't matter at all. So like when it just wasted no time, didn't even let him finish the taunt, and didn't let him finish the sentence, and Kaladin just went right into action. I'm like, yes. I just thought it was so much fun. It was so funny. Oh, he was just so badass. It was just so cool. But the idea of the suppression Fabrio, I thought that was really cool. Like that's a really cool idea, and the stuff like that that I'm becoming more surprised that they haven't thought about because some of the other things that the characters have thought about have been so brilliant that the fact that some of these ideas just don't pop into their head is kind of like, that feels very obvious and you just didn't think about it at all. But then again, I don't really think about it either because it's not like a Way of Kings. I was saying, can you suppress their power? Anything like that. So yeah, whatever. But all right, let's talk about another one of the cool moments. So another really cool point in the story. It happens later in the story because, like, as I think about it, I can't think of too many points that really stand out to me early on in the story. Because again, the beginning parts of the book is very much just kind of establishing where we are, what we've been up to, and then starting. It's like ending a movie, and then you have to end the a part you have to then like start it again. Like so yeah, there's not too many parts in the beginning of the book that like stood out to me, but there's so many more like in the middle and like back end of it. So yeah, another really cool one was of course the story of the dog and the dragon. So I love that entire interaction with Hoyd and Kaladin and design and stuff. That entire thing was just so much fun. Like I love Hoyd's like mild frustration with himself that like light weaving makes his illusions just way too easy and stuff. And I love Design's personality, just the way she's like so perfect. She's exactly the type of Spren that Wit needs. Because Hoyd, Wit, Saphandrius, Topaz, he is just a lot. So he needs a companion like that that just can kind of take the piss out of him in a lot of ways. So just that entire interaction was a lot of fun. I really liked when design basically immediately spoils the story. She was like, people would like to know if a product is good first before they buy. Would you like to take like a sack of food to the house? You don't even know what you got until you get home. You open it up. It's like that's really stupid and stuff. And I'm like, dang, I understand and agree with that logic, but it completely does not apply to something like a story. Like, come on. But I just thought that was just such a fun interaction. And of course, the story itself is amazing. The story, even though in the story, Wit basically says he's a common dog, a common breed, blah, 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 with floppy ears, like he describes it as being white with brown spots and floppy ears. And to me, that's just Kaladin. That's my dog because my dog is a Staffordshire Terrier pit bull breed, bully breed. And he's all white with, what do they call the, it's brown spots, but it's that mottled brown, with the different shades, and it's got a there's a different word for it. But either way, my dog basically is exactly the description of the dog in that story, and that's what makes the story really really cool. Because of course I love my dog and I love dragons, and so like that combination of stuff is just awesome. And then I just love the energy, the humor of the scene itself because Kaladin is suffering these horrendous visions from odium and stuff, and they're just like exasperating his depression and stuff like that, and it's really like taking a toll on him mentally. So it's like really hard to deal with. And then here comes Hoyd with this little bubble, this great bowl of stew, and then just jokes in a great story and stuff. And I love how, like, even through the story parts, like, they could be seen as interludes or little vignettes or whatever, but even in the story, like, we see development. Like, the first story he gets with the flute and everything. Like, Kaladin's basically barely paying attention to it, not really deep into it the way he kind of should be and stuff. And like he kind of understands the lessons, but he doesn't understand the lesson of it that fast. And then same thing with Fleet. Like he gets the story of Fleet, and he's a little quicker. He kind of gets the point of it a little quicker, and kind of understands the moral lesson of it and everything. And then the Dog and the Dragon, Hoyt tells it in such a way that he's confident that Callan's going to completely understand the point of the story and everything. So he just kind of like, oh, he couldn't do it, he failed, blah, 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 and like all this kind of stuff. And then he lets Callan just kind of start ranting and get like all, hyped up and stuff. Like, that dog is incredible and everything like that. And then I just love the moment at the end of his little tirade. He goes, oh, the story is about me, wasn't it? Like, it's so fun. I love those kind of character interactions. I love when stuff just clicks. Like, I love that kind of stuff so much. Because even on my initial read, like, I mean, I know all the stories that Hoy tells to Kaladin are in some way about Kaladin. So, like, it wasn't a huge leap to assume that he was talking about, him not appreciating the things he has accomplished. But, like, you kind of pick that up, pretty much shortly after he starts the story. But to just have Kaladin go through that and then kind of figure it out and stuff, it's so fun to me. It's just so entertaining. In some ways, Kaladin is like a himbo, like, and it's so entertaining. I don't know why. There's sometimes he gets these moments that's just so hysterical to me. But next fun moment. So this point is one that's kind of like I really enjoy the moment because I like when Relaine stands up for himself. So I really don't like the fact that because the prejudice of it kind of. I mean, no prejudice ever actually makes sense, but you can kind of understand why they do because the Parshmen are the void bringers and they don't know how to distinguish between Parshmen, listeners, and singers and all this kind of stuff. So it would be, you're not that surprised that Relaine is kind of having a hard time of it dealing with being, around the humans as like the one of the only listener, like, and all this kind of stuff. So when they're in the bar and stuff, and like he hears behind him the women talking crap about him, like talking about he is hovering over the radiance and stuff, waiting for them to just to move so he can kill them or do this or whatever and stuff. And Relaine just kind of calmly, like, I mean, granted he's in war form, so he's very imposing, so he does kind of scare them, but he just goes over to them like, I like cards. I like Towers the best, but I like this other game and stuff, and I like this and stuff, and blah, blah, blah. And he's just sitting there very friendly and stuff, like, yeah. It's like, oh, I just thought I'd tell you something about me, because since you clearly know nothing about me, maybe you'd stop making stuff up if you actually knew something about me. And I'm like, that's just like the nicest, calmest, most like genial way you could just cuss somebody out ever. Because I'm like, that kind of stuff just irks me on like a fundamental level, and I just kind of love how he just kind of handled it because he's just so resilient dealing with all the crap. Like he's so resilient, just like okay, it is the way it is. They haven't learned, they won't learn, maybe they will learn, blah blah blah. Blah. But like, I just really like that little instance of him like pushing back against it. It doesn't happen that much, but I really like when that kind of thing does happen, and I hope we see more of it. Well, I doubt we will need to see much more of it because after what just happened, yeah, like at the end of Rhythm of War, he's probably going to be just as famous as Cal and going to be a superhero and all kinds of cool stuff. I don't even know. But yeah, I thought that was really cool, and I thought that was one of the fun moments. So, another fun moment of the story. Oh, another fun thing that happens that just popped in my head. It's more in the beginning of the book. But I love when Tef shows up and basically tells Kaladin, I'm joining the surgeon, stuff too. Like, I want to be your surgeon's assistant. He's like, no, you can still be a warrior. Go out, fight and go do all the stuff that I'm not being allowed to do anymore. He's like, nope, my head's messed up. Can't do it. Nope, can't go out. No, like, I just love how ornery and stubborn Teft is. It's just so much fun. Such a great character. And, like, Brandon did a great job for his final book. And, like, he did such a great job exemplifying, like, why he's so awesome. But it didn't occur to me how much of this book he was unconscious for. And, like, it felt like, I felt his absence. When he was unconscious, I felt that absence for a very long duration of the book. And then basically he wakes up for not too long and then dies. And I was like, ouch. But I still really, really enjoyed that scene. I thought it was so much fun. And the kind of another scene that's similar to that is when Kaladin when Adolin makes Kaladin kind of realize, like, oh, all these women out here that need, help with headaches and this kind of stuff and suddenly have a cough. You're like, dude, you're like the most eligible bachelor ever right now. Like, come on. Like, and he's like, oh, dang, I guess that could be a thing. Like, it's so fun. That's why I kind of think Kaladin is a little bit of a himbo because it's like, I mean, I get like his mental state and everything like that, and the stuff he's gone through in his life. It just makes all other kind of stuff not that important. But like, come on, dude, you have to recognize like that you're a catch. Like, you're to my assumption. I mean, nobody's ever actually. Well, no, yeah. Shalana said he's like outright handsome and all this kind of stuff, and he's like a radiant and all this other kind of crap, whatever. Like he seems to be so unaware of it, but obviously for reasons it kind of makes sense. But so I just thought that was a lot of fun, and I just, again, I guess I'll say another thing about early in the book is I love when Adolin comes to the room and pull Kaladin out of his room when he goes and hits that just horrendous moment of way too relatable depression, like that point, and when Adolin like forces him out of the room and like just basically bear hugs him with friendship, basically like that touched my soul. Like I adore that to like that would probably be one of my favorite like things ever. Like I don't even know how to explain it. Like it's just so good. It's so awesome. It exemplifies such an incredible person, and I love Adolin as a character. And what's some other cool stuff that happened towards the end? What can I think about? Because I'm trying not to just talk about the obvious points. The life before death or strength before weakness, you bastard, or whatever. And like that was just, or is it journey before death? I don't know. When Navani starts saying the oath and stuff and calls Moash a bastard, that was just a lot of fun. Like I really like that. I really just love all the instances of Navani and Raboniel when they're like really getting the science going and jumping experiments, tossing them back and forth between each other and stuff. I thought that was just a lot of fun. Like that stuff is so cool because I love magic systems and I love esoteric. I can't speak. And I love esoteric lore and that kind of stuff. So like when they're really getting deep into the weeds of it and stuff, I really, really get into that. So I really, really enjoy that a whole lot. Yeah, I think I'm going to kind of end it there with those few really cool moments from the story because the majority of the other moments in the story are, apart from being the ones that everyone talks about, they're also just kind of the, of course, big bombastic points of the story. But one of the things I noticed about Rhythm of War is that it's similar to like Dawn Shard in that the overall plot itself like it doesn't feel like much happens. There's like a couple bright spots that have huge implications and huge ramifications, but overall the entire story not a lot happens. Like there's like even everything with the occupation, a good 80% of the time in the occupation is really just being occupied. It's really just like slow moving kind of It feels like it exists purely for the aspect of the research that Navani Araboni is doing, but there's a lot in this book that just like it's almost nothing. Like it's kind of interesting when you think about it. Even like the war in the Mool, that entire part and stuff, like that was just a feint. So that entire battle, that's why we only get the one scene of Yasna basically, you know, being a student, you know, just barely like she's fighting the war and everything, but she's not doing it, you know, as a soldier. She's doing it so that she can understand the people that serve her better. Like, so it's kind of, you know, it's not even like a, you know, true battle kind of thing. At least it doesn't feel like it to me. So yeah, Rhythm of War is an interesting book. Like I feel like I could talk about most of the other books in Stormlight forever and a day, but Rhythm of War, I have a hard time like just talking about it for a long time, without just talking about Navani or Rabonio only and just speculating about nature of the magic system. Because for me, that's all this book truly is. It's a further exploration of the magic, and it kind of sets up the mechanics of the end game, or at least the thing that's going to be a huge influence for the back half and probably have huge ramifications for the entirety of the Cosmere. Because so I'm wondering about Sions. This just kind of randomly made me think about Sions. Like, could negative light hurt a Sion, or would you have to? Hmm. Anti-investiture, if it's created by way of rhythms, how do you create it on other worlds? Or does every shard have a rhythm regardless of world, and they just have to learn it and figure it out? See, this is what I mean. It just gets me thinking about the nature of the magic and the mechanic systems and all that kind of stuff. So, I've hit the point of rambling where I've stopped making sense. So, we're going to go ahead and end this. Yes, Rhythm of War, for whatever reason, for me, it's kind of hard to talk about in a kind of a general, you know, stream of consciousness way. But yeah, I am just also incredibly hyped for Wind and Truth. Like, that's all I'm pretty much thinking about. I don't want to do any prediction videos because, like, I tend to be kind of correct with predictions. So I don't want to accidentally spoil myself by thinking too much about it, because I feel like I did a lot of that with Rhythm of War way back when. So we're just not even going to do that. So this is going to be my complete random stream of consciousness, kind of nonsensical, mostly random haphazard video that we're just going to kind of blather about and just get really excited for Wind and Truth, which comes out in like 24 hours, less than 24 hours. So yeah, with that being said, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and if you're interested, you can check out the Patreon. Sorry for the very haphazard, brain on the pillow kind of video, but that's kind of how my brain works with Rhythm of War. But yeah, like I said, like and subscribe. I will talk to y'all next time. Peace.